Hello, ladies.
Wait, Michelle on?
She
Hello.
Oh,
welcome to episode 25 of Auntie Listen. Yeah, 25. I forgot for a minute. I'm gonna start with our quote. No matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world. And that was by Robin Williams. What do you guys think of the quote?
Robin, my dog. Anything he say, I roll
That's
with it.
right along with what we were talking about before we opened. Words and
Yeah,
ideas can change the world. We have no idea how it's going to affect people. The other
Speak and see a
ideas that we
thing.
get.
And that's what they
Yeah.
say, speak and see a thing.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Robin.
yeah. Okay, Auntie Marva, we're going to turn it over to you for announcements.
Okay. So the announcements for today. Let me pull them up, y'all. Because I never know them by heart. Okay. So remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share the Auntie Listen podcast. We're trying to build up our fan base and our following, and we need your help to do so. So every time you hear, you listen, and you join us, share it with a friend, share it with a family member, share it with an enemy, share it with anybody. Um, and we also need for you to follow all of our social media sites that and where we're sharing the podcast. So you can follow us, like, follow, and share on YouTube. You can like, follow, and share on Instagram, Auntie Listen. Like, follow, and share on Twitter, formerly known X, formerly known as Twitter, Auntie List 52888. You can follow and share on TikTok. And are we still holding for Patreon?
Yeah, it's still on hold.
We don't listen to the last part. We don't forget that y'all heard that question. And then we want you to go to our affiliate links and save a few dollars with us because we trying to help y'all save a few dollars with us. Amazon, Bed Bath and Beyond, Target, Walgreens, Walmart, and the Great Discovery. All of these links you can find in the bottom in the description under the video. And don't forget the merch. Don't forget the merch. The merch. Yes, the merch. Don't forget your merch. Get you a t-shirt, a bag, a mug, something cutesy dootsy, so you can sit back and turn up with us with your little coffee or tea or something a little stronger while you listen to Auntie Listen. Back to you, Auntie Destiny.
Thank you. Sorry about that. The dog was getting ready to bark at nothing. So, for food around the world,
Oh, Lord Jesus.
we are going to Antigua
Okay.
and Barbuda.
Barbados? Barbuda?
Barbuda. You heard me.
Let me look this one up.
You
For
heard her.
for fungi and pepper pot. And it is the national dish of Antigua and Barbuda. And although one may think that they are going to be served some kind of mushroom and pepper stew, the truth is far more interesting than the usual name suggests. Fungi is a bread ball similar to polenta, consisting of cornmeal with okra.
Hmm.
And then from there, we are going to Riviera, Uruguay. And there we are going to have Himel's Alfor horse is also known as Romeo and Julieta. This alfajor is a signature product of the Uruguayan brand Hamel Alfajores, offering an innovative take on a traditional Uruguayan dessert. Romeo and Julieta is inspired by the classic Latin American pairing of creamy cheese and gu- okay, it's a guava paste. So, what do you guys think of those two dishes?
The first one reminded me of like whole cakes, pan fried bread, and
Yeah.
with the fried okra is what I thought of when you
But
were.
did she say it was fried? Because that's where I got stuck at.
She
Like, what is the
didn't.
No,
consistency
it's
of this?
She
no,
didn't. She
Is
said
it
no,
balls too
boiled?
instead of
no,
flat. But that's
no.
just
It's
what it put me in the mind of.
yeah, no. The okra is mixed in the cornmeal, which is why I'm not going to eat it because I don't like okra. I don't care how you make it.
Is
Ugh.
it raw?
No, because okay, think of like when you're making cornbread, when you're putting cornbread together,
Like crackling bread, but
and
okra
then you cut
instead.
up okra and put it in your cornbread,
So
and then
crackling bread instead of, but
But I
instead
thought
crackling
you
the
said it
okra.
was balls though, right? Some kind of
yes,
ball. Yeah.
yes, it's yeah, it's a
So
ball.
hush puppies with okra in it.
Yes, there
Are
you
they
go.
frying it though, or is it dumpling? There's
No, they're
certain.
frying it.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're
I
frying
told
it.
you it reminded me of whole cakes and okra, the way we do it with like fish or something.
Okay, I can
Yeah.
eat that.
Yeah,
And then
sound.
that second one, what was that? I heard something about a whore. What was the second one?
No,
That's all I kept hearing. Like, wait, what? What she did?
it's a creamy cheese
Oh Lord.
with
It gets
guava
worse.
peas.
Pause.
That's what I said. We going from horrors to cream. I just don't like the way this going right now.
Auntie, auntie.
Where is you finding these recipes, Auntie? Gee, Lord, and I'm trying to roll with my people. My ancestors probably used to eat this, but man, this don't that sound enticing. Well, maybe it does sound enticing to the right one.
Right. Look. Okay, look. It was a whole page of all the history and stuff. I'm like, I just took the condensed version.
I'm sure it was magical, but it don't sound that your delivery is not helping.
She
It's not
gave us a
helping.
she gave us a quickie, is what she did.
Yes, I
Yes.
gave y'all the
See,
I
and the
I gave
verbiage is getting worse here.
I gave y'all the clip notes version.
Yeah, did
I
you?
get I gave you the clip notes version
Mm.
of the of the full page description.
Yeah,
So it
I
sounds like though it sounds like something I would taste, but nothing I favor.
Mm,
I
okay.
and that's because of the
mm,
cheese. That's because of the cheese. I'm a cheese girl.
if it was solid cheese, but you said creamy.
Yeah, it's a
I
creamy
like me some
cheese.
dip though. We like nacho cheese with nachos.
Yeah, but you said it was sweet. She said guava paste.
I know that's why I said I would
But
taste it.
guava, but to me, guava is not sweet.
Definitely sweet,
What?
Auntie. What did you talking about?
No, it
What we
doesn't
getting?
taste sweet to me.
Where you had your See, you know why you're up in the Pacific Northwest.
What
We
does
grow
that have to do?
guavas because we're from a place that guavas actually grow, and we grew up eating sweet guavas. Like that's just what it is.
Oh,
Yeah, they
yeah.
are sweet,
Oh,
and
no
maybe there
matter
are
how,
some that are not sweet because there's different, kinds of
yeah,
stuff. But yeah,
right. Like there's different kinds of mangoes. I'm sure there's different types of guava.
yeah, all apples aren't sweet. Some are tart. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so you need to taste the sweet ones that we've had. Really
Oh,
good.
okay. Okay, so our topic this month comes from Auntie Marva. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Auntie Marva so she can host her topic. Go ahead, Auntie Marva.
um. So today's topic. Okay, so it came from me, Auntie Janisha, and I went to the movie theater. We saw a movie. Can I say the name of the movie or no?
Yeah.
Okay, we went to the movies and we saw Sinners, and I was just thinking about um it was a part in the movie where they was dancing and he was singing, and we can say he was conjuring up um the different spirits of music from his ancestry line. And I guess everybody that was in there, because they even brought up, the little Asian man that was hip hop dancing from back in from like the 1800s for the Asian couple that was there. He was pop locking and dropping it with swords and stuff. And it just made me think about several different things, because not only this movie was set in like the what was it, 30s or 40s. Am I correct?
I
It
think
was
it was
back
in
in the
the
day,
30s. Yeah.
in the 30s.
Jim
And
Crow South.
yes, and but the music that he was conjuring up was people was dancers and performers from their present, their past, and the future. And so if you didn't see the movie, I'm sorry, but I'm not telling the story. I'm just highlighting that one part. Because they're, allowing them to see just how powerful music was, or music is, right? And it just made me think about, my brain went left. Like my brain be wandering all the time just because I'm ADHD like that. And it took off, and I was thinking about all sorts of things, several different things in music, how it's elevated. I mean, the evolution of music, and to where music is now, and how it has affected society. Okay, so that is the topic. Long story short, in a nutshell. Um, so I had stumbled upon a couple different articles that talked about, distinctively talking about music and how it has evolved and how it has affected our lifestyle as an economy, as a people, in general. How it hardwires our brain, et cetera, et cetera. So the first, let me go back up here. The first article that I discovered, it is called it was called How Do Songs Impact Society? Um and a quote from, well, I'm not gonna say a quote, but paraphrase. So in a nutshell, the article breaks down how music isn't just for fun. It actually shapes how we feel, how we think, and how we connect. The songs help us express deep emotions, preserve culture, and bring people together. They've fueled protests, raised awareness for causes, and given a voice to the unheard. Music even has real effects on our brains, as it can calm us down, boost our focus, and help us heal. From classrooms to communities to the economy, music plays a powerful role in shaping society. It's more than entertainment, it's influence. How do you ladies feel about that? Or do you agree or do you disagree? Tell me how you think about that.
Oh, I totally agree. For the longest time, um, I had a theme song that I would play every year, and whenever I was having a bad day or even a good day, I would just play that song,
Oh,
and yeah, and
what's the song? You can't just tell us you do that and then don't tell us what the song
no,
is.
because the song changed year after year.
Oh,
Oh,
Each
that makes
year I
sense.
would have a different theme song. Like one year it was You Haven't Heard the Last of Me Yet by Cher. One year it was You Gotta Be by Desiree. Um like, well, this is going to give away what one of my open questions, because open the question for open topic, because it is, what is your theme song for the year? And so like this year it's The Strength of What Man by the Jacksons.
hmm.
So each year I had a different theme song. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Auntie Janisha, do you have a song? Do you have songs that you cling to that help you navigate through?
I do, but I don't tend to have one per year because I go back and I my playlist, when I make a new playlist, and I have about 20 now on like YouTube,
Bad.
I keep saying I'm gonna fix them, but most of my playlists have all the same songs.
They do. They
And they
really do.
start off with the theme in mind, but because I love certain songs, they end up on all the playlists. And so I'm constantly like my songs, they just follow me. They stay with me. So never a one. But when you were speaking, what I was actually thinking about is how um music scores are,
Mm-hmm.
how they make us feel when watching movies, and they're so powerful that we don't even think about them. Like if it was a sad moment and but they played it up, we wouldn't be as sad, or those
Mm-hmm.
kinds of things. So it really kind of corrals our emotions and make us feel things that maybe we wouldn't have felt. We might have felt otherwise in certain moments.
Mm-hmm.
But in particular, you made me think about the movie with Don Cheadle when he played
My
oh,
dog,
the brother's name, but the name of the
Petey
movie,
Green.
Peter Green, Talk to Me, where he was a DJ, custom DJ, one of the most awesome
Yes, that's my
DJs I've ever
favorite
heard.
song.
He was great in that role, and Petey Green was an awesome DJ
Yes,
as
he was
well. And
Aquarius.
he was
What could you expect?
but the scene in the movie that I was referring to because of this topic is when um there was something traumatic going on. Dr. King was murdered,
Mm-hmm.
and they had this impromptu concert, and what's the
A
brother's name?
change gonna come.
James Brown
Oh,
took the stage, and he called the whole crowds of people with his music. What he was able to do, although it was a very emotional time, what he was able to do through his music. I absolutely love that scene because he absolutely loved the people. So he wasn't trying
mm,
to lullaby the people to sleep, but it was a way to pull the emotions down and to kind of say, I get it, I understand, and we're here together. And I really love that. That's what you made me think about when you were saying what you were saying. That movie.
Yeah, and what you were saying, Auntie Janisha, about movie scores. Movie scores do mute the scores do make the movie. Yeah, because they're especially those suspenseful movies. The music just heightens the suspense to where you're just like on the edge of your seat.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree with you when you said if the music wasn't there, it wouldn't have the same effect. I totally agree with that.
Auntie Michelle, you came in a little bit late, and I was talking about, I introduced my our first article, and it was pretty much giving a synopsis on how music can guide us, and lead us and shape us through depending on where we are mentally and what we're going through. And so Auntie brought up that she had each year she had a song that she would visit. Each year she had a song that she would visit, and it would change from year to year because um depending on where she was, within her relationship or where she was in her life, that would be the song that she would go through, but it would change from year to year. Auntie Janisha shared that she has 20 different lists with all the same songs, similar. Do you have music that you turn to? Is there a specific song that goes with you throughout your life, or does your change like aunties? You share.
no, well, I mean, it changes, but yeah, because I mean, got some awesome little new creators out here.
Hmm.
Um, I done added like Glorilla. I done added her to my um
Oh, you and your pimps.
Rod Wave. You know what I'm saying? I don't edit these young people,
Oh,
and it's like some more younger ones. What's the London?
oh
The
yeah,
guy, him.
October
Yeah,
London.
October London, and it's different little artists but it depends on where I am in my energy, and yeah, As Aquarius, I'm gonna adapt to that music. I'm gonna go. That I will sit there and have a party to myself in my own head. Cause like when you was just talking about your friend and we was telling you to uplift your vibration through him, you know what song
Hmm.
came on? Something that me and you have listened to when we was little.
Which is
Polly, did you to
Aunties.
go? Oh, oh, but yeah, I always turn the gospel.
Polly.
So
Polly.
yeah.
The movie
Mhm.
Polly. Polly, for those that don't know, Polly is a musical that we were in love with. And there's two versions of Polly. So it's not just Polly, but we didn't watch Pollyanna. We watched Polly. You know what I'm talking about? Polly, the little girl from the Hustables. Rudy, she played Polly. That's the version we watched. Because it's two versions. One of them was a regular movie, the other one was a musical, and we watched the musical version, Polly. You know what I'm talking about? So keep it real. But
I'm sorry, I didn't know we couldn't sing the songs, but yes. So when you were saying what you were saying, that's why I said I need you to go look at that movie and see how it moved you, because
yeah,
I heard it playing in my head when it was singing. Like it's
yeah.
just music pops up in my head. When I went to my father's passing,
Hmm.
I have a very favorite song. A change gonna come.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't know that it's like one of my go-to. A change gonna come. And, and it was actually another one of his songs, and they said that was my father's favorite song, which me and him was not that close, so I didn't know it was his favorite song until like his passing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I love music, and music make me think about people, places, things. Like I think it's really good for the soul. I think it's essence for the soul. Um, and I would like to say this as well. An event just happened where the graduations, and congratulations to all the babies who had just graduate. But over in New Orleans, they like to turn up, like back in the days, turn up, 60s, 40s, 50s, 60s, turn up. And if you watch how the little kids was like shouting and turning up with the music, and everybody called them ghetto. And I hated that because I think music lifts our vibration to go into like our higher selves to give us that superpower. So yeah, when I think of music, I think of it as super superpowers like that charge up. Ah, right. That's all
Yeah.
I have to say. Mhm.
My bad, I was on mute. So, okay, good. So, a couple of things from each one of you, everything that y'all said. Auntie, my songs change as well. Mine, I listen to everything except heavy metal rock. And that's only because I don't understand it. I don't understand what they be saying. I just, all the screaming and I just don't get it. And that is no knock to those that listen to it. I just don't understand it. Auntie Janisha, you highlighted the film scores a little tad bit. I went to Full Sail University, and that was my degree. My degree was music production because I have always loved the soundtracks to music. I've always loved musicals. I've always wondered who wrote that, who made that. Ooh, and I would not just, so I don't watch movies like how everybody else watch movies. I pay attention to what's happening to the people the people that's around me and how they are affected by it. And it dawned on me years ago that it was the music that controlled that. There's a saying in television production, no one cares about audio and music until it's bad. You don't even notice that it's there, but it's literally controlling everything. But if it's a bad production or some bad audio, you'll be like, oh God, oh, what's that? What's that?
Mm.
But I actually went to school, and my degree was music production because I wanted to make film scores. I was so engulfed with music. I love film scores and I love to create music. So that's what I went to school for. So it's funny that you highlighted that because yeah, I don't know if you knew that, but that's what yeah. Um, and then Tamira, your life, you said sometimes you'll be talking and things will just a song will pop up in your head. I learned a long time ago, and it came to me that my life plays to a soundtrack, so much so that I even want to respond to people with songs or song lyrics because there's always a song playing in my head an appropriate song playing to my in my head at the exact moment that everything is happening. I don't know why. Maybe because that's just how I, we're geared. Um, I'm so tapped into with music that I could hear. I was so tapped in with music like that to where I would be, could be listening to music and I'd never heard this song before, but I already knew how the song melody would grow before I
Mm-hmm.
even heard it. I would even know some of the lyrics before they even said it. And it was weird. Like, how
Yep.
do I know that? And I didn't know that I was doing that until Auntie Janisha pointed that out to me years ago. And I used to be like, I did? For real?
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Auntie Marva, but I'm the same way. I had a foster mom point that out to me. She was like, "Have you heard this song before?" I'm like, "Nope, this is my first time hearing it." And she's like, "Wait, what?" And
And
you,
singing along. Singing
yeah.
along. Yep. I don't know how, but it makes me it goes along with I feel like it goes along with my next point that I'm going to bring up for my next article. Um this article, well, my question from the from that article, my question was, do you think certain songs or genres hold a social power other more than others, and if so, do you think they resonate across generations or movements and dictating how we grow? That could be as a people, that could be individually, and is it the same energy of music from the past? And I said
Mm.
that to say, because how do we know, Auntie, how do we know that this music that we've never heard it before?
So I would say yes, and I would say you can see that through history. You can go back and look at videos of Woodstock. You can go and look at the videos of Live Aid. You can go and look at the videos of um Pavarotti. Um so yes, music, different genres does move people. I mean, look at the rap, because I was watching on YouTube on people react, and they and it was like rap music. I didn't know any of the songs because that's not a genre that I listen to. Like when it first came out, yes, I listened to it when it first came out because that was when it really had a positive message, like white lines, telling you not to do drugs, and I can't think of the other one, but it was by the Sugar Hill Gang, the
Yeah.
Uptown something about the about where he goes to his friend's house to eat and the food's not good. You know
These
which
are
one
the breaks.
I'm talking about?
These are the breaks.
So so yes, you can look through any part of history and see how music has changed. I mean, look what happened when the Beatles crossed the pond and came to America. So yes, there's a huge movement in music.
Any one of you other two ladies wanna highlight or piggyback anything that teacher said?
I
Yeah,
would. I,
go ahead.
oh,
Go ahead, Auntie Michelle.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Auntie Michelle, you're muted.
oh, you can hear me?
Now we can.
We can
Yeah, it was a study done, and it was talking about how music plays a major part in the melanin um vibration of us. And then we talk and then it went into depth of the spirituality of us. And in that study it talked about how music vibration is the vibration of music itself interacts with the brain waves. And a lot of musicians will say, when you think of that, like, oh wow, a lot of musicians will say it's like poetry to me, even with rap, hip hop, um, country, especially. I love country because it always tells a story. Um, Blues always tell a story. It always tells a story. Like Auntie was just talking about, like it always says something about that person surrounding something, um what that person's feeling, a way to express, like poetry, how
Auntie Janisha.
music
Oh,
just,
sorry.
yeah, aligns with us. But yeah.
I was wanting to say that music is like when we're talking about movie scores, just speaking on that again, we don't hear the words. Usually you don't hear the words. It's just music and it's the ups and the downs and all this stuff. And I don't know the technical words on T Marvin. You know those words. Crescendos or whatever. I don't know, ebbs and flows. But I've always loved
Come on,
jazz.
Crescendo.
I've always loved drumming
Mm-hmm.
and things without word. I love words, but I also love music without words. Symphonies, orchestras, all those things. I used to say that I was, oh, that's something I forgot. I said I was gonna be as a an orchestra person. Sit up there with the little wand in my hand. Because I've always liked that the idea of just guiding all those things, which is not just the performers, but the onlookers. You are guiding the entire room with your stick in your hand. That I always thought was really cool. And so music in that way, just, and everybody's getting something different, even though they're flowing kind of the same, they're being guided. The fact that you still are getting something different, it's like sitting in a church service. I just love that, the idea of it. And I will say this too, going back to the movie that Auntie Marva introduced that she and I went to watch. If by now y'all haven't seen it, I'm sorry. Yes, spoilers. But the scene in there, not even the scene, the point of the vampire, the main vampire, trying to get Sammy, one of the main characters, to he wanted to use his musical talent to evoke his ancestors. So like when we think about our young people, there's a lot of music that once you get to a certain age, you might not appreciate anymore. When during our time, we were listening to the same type of stuff in our time, and our elders didn't like that either. I think what's happening, especially in this culture, that causes our young people, because some folks say, no, it's not the music. Music has nothing to do with it. But we are sitting here literally, and those same people would understand that putting something high spirited on is different than putting something more solemn on, and given the moment, whatever it is that you're trying to conjure, the emotion you're trying to conjure, even just for yourself, riding in your car to keep you awake, or hush the baby to sleep, or whatever, you're using a certain type of music. With people taking our young people under their wing, so to speak, and giving them a certain type of music, or encouraging them to play for their community and their peers a certain type of music, that is a very dangerous thing when someone is controlling what you're doing, when it's not really coming from the spirit of the person. It's coming from their spirit, but not necessarily the spirit of the person putting it out. Do y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
So the idea that you get may not be the idea of your handler, and then that's where we're getting all these things that may not have been, and so we're getting a lot of negativity through a lot of different music, whereas it could have been helpful, or something else, just could have been something else.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful noise y'all making, and it ain't even Maruzy. Okay, so um, moving along, I have another article. that I found this article, and we'll share these links in the we'll share the links to the article so that you can read along for yourselves and go a little bit deeper beyond what we're sharing here. So this second article that I found, I was all three articles I'm gonna lie, I actually just pretty much is speaking on exactly how the role of music in its development, how it develops us, right? And this article is called "The Role of Music," and this was in development much more than the same old song. And in this article, there is a there is a quote, and I'm going to read this for you. It says, music deserves a bigger role in your mental health and education. Despite music's health and huge influence, it's still overlooked in psychology and education. Yet studies show that integrating music into prevention therapy and school programs can reduce depression, boost creativity, and help individuals feel seen. Music based interventions that honor uh, the individual cultures could change lives. So, that being said, let me go back down to my questions. My question from there is, in your opinion, do you think schools, mental health programs should music automatically be included in every classroom and in every subject? Because, as we know, music is only an option. Music is only an option at schools, and as of recently, especially with our current economy, they're taking away all of those um, programs. They're trying to get rid of them because they're not allowing funding to be provided, and that funding has been cut from several hundreds of, or if not thousands of schools across the country. And a lot of school kids don't get to be able to tap into music, or even um, if they're not, if music doesn't naturally flow within them, they aren't introduced to it because it's being taken away, the fundings are being cut. So do you think it should automatically be mandatory inside of every subject and in every school and in every program, and why? Or
Yes.
if it does not, why?
Yes, because being in choir was the only thing that really got me through school. And because I had such a horrific home life, music was my escape at home and at school. And it really bugs me that whenever there's funding cuts, it's always the arts. Sports are never cut, but the arts are always cut. And and whether it's and art is more important to me than sports because art is healing. Whether you're playing an instrument, whether you're listening to it, whether you're painting, whether you're, you know, art is that create tapping into your creative brain is very healing and therapeutic. So yes, I feel when I was in class, it was it was an elective, and I chose it year after year after year because it was so healing. Auntie Janisha or Auntie Michelle, you
I
can
only
go.
kind of agree with that because I think that it's not music, but it's art that actually should be. And I think that it should fall in where it's gonna fall in, because if we were in schools being taught properly, like um, first of all, um, the African American experience should be in every subject. That's actually something that I haven't heard that Trump has cut out, but he's doing other things which would cover this. So there was a mandate still on the books, that our history as indigenous people is supposed to be being taught in every single subject. And with that being said, it would you would know where we were, like it let's say it's a history class. That's a given, but let's just say history. When we're talking about the Inquisition, it would also give where were indigenous people, black people, what they were doing at that time. So you wouldn't just get the little keynote that we always get if we were even included. You would get everything. And if it was music that was flourishing at that time, then that's where that would fall, Auntie Destiny. That's why I'm saying not music in particular, because maybe art, visual art was the thing, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
that's it would come out during that lesson. Or let's say sculptures, manipulative art was the thing that was flourishing in the world, or metalworking or any of those things. I think that that's how it should be done. Like in a math class, music has a lot of math in it, and so in your math class that would come out, but also like the visual interpretation of things through math, and how like painting by numbers, stuff like that. I like it would we would have to be a lot more creative instead of how we our teachers are having to teach, and children would be a lot more um open.
Receptive.
Yes, receptive, and then therefore be creative in themselves, because what you just said, all children are not drawn to music. Some are drawn to, because some of our children have hearing difficulties, right?
Right.
So they can't hear what excites us, but the visual art that would totally excite them and get them involved. So I just think that it's art altogether that should be in every subject, but culturally, not
Before,
just from one way. And I'll say this to wrap it up. The reason why too I don't feel that it should be music, because that would be just like sending our children to a religious school, because it's going to be taught from those people's perspective. I don't
mhm,
want to be just taught Beethoven, and the even though he was black, by the way, if y'all look at just one type of music from one type of people, like that was the only thing that mattered. If it's not going to include every all of it, even people that's not me, yeah, that's slanted very much in the wrong direction, and that's kind of why we're the way we are.
Yeah.
Auntie
And I,
Tamira, Auntie Michelle, before you answer, Auntie Janisha, I'm glad you answered the way you did, because my second question, I'm gonna go ahead and pose it now for just for feedback from Auntie Michelle, because my follow up question was going to be, some argue that not everyone connect with music deeply, and that its role in identity, coping, or social development may be overstated for those who aren't musically inclined, right? And so, how would we respond to the idea that music is not a universal development resource? Like how, like if for those individuals that thrive just as well without it, without music, without the inclusion of music. So I'm going to open that up and say not just music, but like you said, art altogether. Um, the individuals that thrive outside of art without it being included, how do we respond to the idea that it's not a universal development resource? So Michelle, just to restate the question, do you agree that the art should be included, or do you agree that it should not be included because there are those individuals that do thrive and very well without it being included? Go.
Okay, so I'm gonna start mine off with Denise. You should go read up on deaf people, deaf the deaf community, and music, because even with the hearing, it is a form that they have out there, and it's beautiful. I wish I could even understand it to the depths of it, how they connect with music. But I was gonna start off with that. So they did a study in Orlando with kids in the music, and it was actually the hallways where they was showing that the kids, when no music was playing, the kids was very like They was just like laggagging and kind of this royally like kind of more not controllable. But when they would play music after like, and this was doing each um transitions to the next classes or the end of the day or the beginning of the day, they would play music in the hallways, and you can see the difference of how the children would actually go about their day. It was less fights. It was less. So I don't know the depth of it. I just know the studies have been done with our kids in school to illustrate how music play a role of how they perform. I would say yes and no. I again like just like they touched on, I don't want like some people may say I do not connect with music like that. So why force something on them? That is again like forceful religion or something of that nature. Everybody should have a right to um express how they need to. Some people do express through music, some people express through art, some people express through writing. All of it is beautiful out there expressed. So I would say yes and no, but I do know studies have been done about these questions you're asking, and it did show a remarkable difference how the kids operated and was more controllable and more it was less rowdy than not playing the music. So I don't. But that could have been no group of kids. I don't know.
I can vouch for that because I actually worked in the school system, and it was the middle schools that were doing that, and in Orlando. So I don't know where else in the country, but I really loved watching them move, because what we were even talking about earlier is that how music has the power to 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 guide your energy. And that's exactly what the administration was doing with these young people, and I absolutely loved it. And the feedback from the kids, they loved it, because and it did not settle on one type of music. There was multicultural school, all different type of students, different backgrounds, and just the three ages, the your sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. But it played different music every day that I was there, all types, and they were all vibing with all the types, all these personalities with all the types. So it was not slanted one way or the other. But at the end, and this was their whole transition break, like Auntie Michelle was saying, just before the bell is ringing, I forget, maybe 45 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever, it started doing that Western thing. Let them know. I mean, it totally changed their whole thing. They would all stop what they were saying, whatever it was, and hightail it to where they were supposed to be. That hall was empty. And that was the music guiding them. They knew it was expected. They had their cues through the music. And yeah, I agree with Auntie Michelle with that. That for and then that's not even the classroom, but that's using it for a very specific purpose.
Correct. That is
Yeah.
true.
Now,
So it's
Auntie
just different
Tanisha.
ways that we can use it. And I do
Now,
get I want to say too about the like hearing impaired. And I understand how music, because I worked in those classes. Well, I worked in ESC, as some of y'all know here. So I do get how music is, but like some of them, they did it was a more tactical things. Some kids, they want to touch everything, you know. So the hearing isn't as important to them. It's their mental. They want to touch. They just want to touch, and just like some children don't want to touch, and then some kids they are auditory sensitive. That's their thing. They don't like noise at all. You approach them while very softly, stuff like that. And that's all I was saying. Like we just need to come more than one way and be more sensitive that we are so many different people on this planet. And to come from one way is very disingenuous.
Mhm.
And so it
And
matters who is putting things in front of us. Even if it's a good thing, it may not be the best for the entire body.
right. Auntie Janisha, you do that one more time, you're going to timeout. You know you're not supposed to do
What?
that. You know what you
What I did?
did. You know what you
No, I
did.
don't.
Wait, what she did?
Yes, she did. She did that song. Even though it was a tiny bit of it. You know I gotta
Well,
edit that
that is
out.
royalty free. That is royalty free, so she's good there.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna double
I
check.
forget. And plus, no, I didn't know what I did. I was totally confused.
Yeah, no, that is royalty free. It's you. We good there. That's when you was doing
Okay.
imitating that from the school. But that's why they're allowed to use that over the bell throughout the school because it is royalty free.
Okay.
So
Y'all
now,
know
I love the way you guys spoke on that. Right, speaking, highlighting the fact that um it's not necessarily about music. It should be the inclusion of art and not just one perspective, one cultural perspective on art. It should be all inclusive because we're all different, correct?
it. Correct.
Now let's just narrow this thing back to music. And the reason why I'm going back to music is because I read an article. The article is called Evolution of Music and Human Social Capacity. Sorry, The Evolution of Music and Human Social Capability. Link will be in the description. This article, this article suggests that, well, I'm going to read the quote that I found in it, right? The quote says, music is a fundamental part of our evolution. We probably sang before we spoke in syntactically guided sentences, meaning we likely used melody and sound, like singing, to express ourselves before we developed the structured, rule based language systems with subjects, verbs, and grammar that we now use to speak. Song is represented across animal worlds. Birds and whales produce sounds, though not always melodic to our ears, but still rich in semantically communicative function, meaning that the possibility that we did this before we actually started utilizing an actual language. Okay, right? It's a possibility. We don't know this for fact, just saying what it's saying. But knowing this, two questions I pose here. How does that change the way we understand music's role in human evolution and connection? And what does it say about the power of music that even imagining a melody activates the same brain areas as hearing it? And have you ever, well, don't worry about that part. What does it say about the power of music that even imagining a melody activates the same brain areas as hearing it? So that I'm gonna ask those two questions again. Knowing, realizing there's a strong possibility that we probably used melody and sang to communicate before we even developed words as a language. How does that change the way we understand music's role in human elevation, evolution and connection? And what does it say about the power of music that even imagining a melody activates the same brain areas as if we were hearing it?
So when you were um talking about that, the first thing that popped into my head were lullabies
Okay.
because yeah, people sing to their children all the time. They sing when they're to calm them. They sing them to sleep. They sing when they're giving them a bath. Um, Anytime a child is distressed, people sing to them or hum to them because it's soothing and calming. So I can see how we learned music before we learned to speak. I totally agree with that. And that's my connection to that. I can't remember the other part, but I know for me, if you put something to music, I will remember it far better than if you just told me. You could tell me the same thing over and over and I still may not get it. And and you still may have to tell it to me over and over. But if you put it to me in a song or in a sing song fashion, I'll remember it. So that's my point on that. Auntie Auntie Janisha.
Can you hear me? I think I'm muted.
No, I can hear
I
you.
meant frozen.
I hear you.
I hear you. Auntie Janisha, Auntie Michelle, who's gonna take it?
I will. Yo, I can. Um, yeah. I had brought up that where music have this vibration to it, so I can totally see where we can communicate in a wavelength of the instrumental. Even if you take the words out, the instrumental of it. Um, when you are working with kids, I know me being having speech problems, where one of my kids developed, well, two of my kids developed the speech problem because me and their father was in speech for a while. And a way that I was able to help my kids pronounce their words better was I would take their hand and put it on my vocal or in my neck so they could pick up the vibration. And so I can see where where music is a vibration, how they talk about the waves of the vibration to the mind, the vibration of it. So I can definitely see where the two and two could go hand of communication and without even the words. I could definitely do that. Make sense? Y'all get what I'm saying?
Yes. It
Yes.
it dates
Yeah.
back to, I mean, it even highlights that the African culture that speaks in knock.
Right.
That's something, Michelle, you've always been intrigued by that language. To those who are unaware of what we speak of, there's a language in Africa. I, I don't know the country. Sorry, so sorry. I didn't research it, and I meant to, but I didn't. There is a country in Africa that speaks in knock. So when they talk, it's
Yeah.
different. It's different. Yes, it's different clicks
Hmm.
and knocks that they use, that they do with their mouth, that is included with how they speak. But they use that different variations of vibration with their tongue, knocking against the roof of their mouth and slapping to the bottom of their mouth, whether their mouth is expanded or in the O shape, that creates the different types of sound of knocks and clicks, and that helps differentiate their words. Same
Right.
way the dolphins whistle. Same thing in the whales when they do
Hmm.
their little screamy thingy. Same way birds whistle when birds be chirping. Same way squirrels. It's words to them, but it sounds like music to us because it is creating an actual frequency. It's creating an actual melody. Ain't that so cool to just the possibility? Because we could be wrong. This is all hypothetical speaking. But wouldn't it be so cool to know that we possibly spoke like that before we started creating actual words and verbiage?
Yeah, yeah,
It
it
seems
is
very
cool.
plausible that that's what we did, just because of there is a
Absolutely.
evolution of words that we can look back at over history. Like even some of the
Right.
words that we're using today were not used 50 years ago, or they meant something else. So there's definitely an evolution of words, even shortening them, not even just elongating them from sound, but even just shortening them. So the taking it down a bit. I think it goes both ways. But I
Right.
love that you use
I
the
want
word
to say
frequency, and
something
I think
else.
that's what the whole thing is.
I would like to say something else. It's also how in Hawaii, also Africa, these are two places I know particularly. They pass down music within the drumming. So yeah, that this is it was just drumming. It was a way of communication. And matter of fact, I just watched the episode of Moesha from the '90s where they was talking about that, where the father and the son they they went to one of the little fests and they was learning how to communicate with the older and the younger man through the drum, which is so cool. So I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, it's been passed down ways to communicate to one another through just this a different beat of the drum. And I think that is so awesome because a lot of it's a tradition to like generational pass downs that you can find. And I think it's really awesome and cool.
And the nerve to know that I used to sing all the time, and y'all used to be like, "Girl," and here I am trying to communicate with y'all in our native tongue, and y'all don't want to hear it.
Did they shut you down, Auntie Marva?
Well, we
Those
tried.
those meanies.
It didn't work.
It didn't work. I didn't think it did.
It didn't
Cancers
Yeah,
work
we
at
discovered.
tried.
all. It ain't work because I refuse. Um, 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 Okay, so now one thing I want to kind of take a step back. Um, there was something that another article, and I was looking for some reason I can't. Maybe it was the one that didn't work for you, Auntie. It's probably the one that I can't open up here. But it was talking about how um it was speaking on appropriation, right? When it comes to different music and cultures, and it was talking about how individuals are making lots and lots and lots of money off of the different types of music that is out there, predominantly African American based cultural urban music, but they really truly don't appreciate the music and where it's coming from. And then speaking specifically on the music that artists are being made now, but they aren't really benefiting from it because it is owned by big business, huge business, astronomical business. Um, how do you guys feel about that? Let's highlight. And I wish I could put, I don't know why this article isn't opening up, and I can't find I can see the website, and I've been scrolling on the website to try to refine that article, but I cannot find it. But um a couple of things, two things that it highlighted, and this, I'm just speaking this from memory. One of them was the article talked about Uncle Luke. Uncle Luke was a rapper from Miami, Florida, back in the day, and he actually went against the government, and he won because he was fighting for freedom of speech. Back then, his music was very vulgar. His music was very, you couldn't play it on the radio. You can't play it on the radio now because it's still very vulgar. But they were trying to ban him from creating this type of music and releasing it, and he sued the government, and he won because of the right to the freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, everyone is taking advantage uh of that lawsuit that he won, and they're utilizing it, and it was his style of music that was, it was so shunned, it was so looked down upon. I mean, it was so very urban, and it was so very African American. But now fast forward, so many other individuals are making that same music, and even though it is urban African American individuals that is making that music, most of the majority of them do not own their music, and that could be a little bit play on not knowing the business of music. But for the most part, majority of these people, as time progressed, is making that type of music, or it is being appropriated by other cultures, and they are using it and they are making the music, but the root of this music is not really being owned or being properly benefited from by the black people. I'm gonna just stop cutting the stuff by the black folks. Um, Also, in addition to that, where we are now, there was another point that I wanted that I was about to say that was in addition to that, but it has slipped my mind at this point. How do y'all feel about that? How do you feel knowing that most of the music that is out now, looking at where it came from, and I'm talking about all the way back to, we've heard the story of Little Richard. We've heard the story of of Elvis Presley, and we've heard the stories of
The Beatles.
the Beatles. We've heard the stories of even what has happened to individuals that has fought against the machines to get their music back, like Michael Jackson buying up all of the music for these different artists and turning this music over to them because they rightfully owned their music and never got to benefit from the music that they put out, the machines that made millions and billions off of their music, and they were still slaved to these big machines because of the contracts that they signed. And Michael Jackson in turn started, because he could afford it, he had made good business, and so he could afford it, he would go and purchase the royalties for these different artists and give it to them. Prince did similar things. Fast forward, Master P, similar things. We have so many different individuals that has fought against these machines, and now um and they're fighting back to really try to regain what has been lost. And although I say that vaguely because we'll never regain what was lost, right?
Right.
But how do y'all feel about that?
So
Let's
I've always felt that if you created something, you should own it 100%. So I feel that I don't look, if you wrote a book, if you write a poem, if you write, if you write music, whatever you do in the arts, you should own the publishing rights and the copyrights and the trademark.
now,
And
Auntie. Oh,
it's
go ahead.
not that hard to get them. All you have to do is apply for them,
So how
and
do
you
we
pay
apply?
the fee. You
Before
go
Auntie
That's
Shanice and
you
Michelle.
need money. You
you go to copyright dot com dot gov and fill out the form.
Okay.
the I
You
think that
go to
the issue
trademark.gov and fill out the form.
it goes very 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 deep because we have people with talent and then we have people with money. That's the first thing. That's what was happening long ago. The people with the talent did not necessarily have the money.
True.
Most likely did not have it. So then you have people that would come along and Auntie Marva, you use the word cultural
Appropriate.
appropriation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly it. They could care less about the culture that they were pushing this on. They could care less about the content, except for if whether it made money or not. If it was all good, if it was all positive, and that's what was making money, that's what those vultures would be pushing. Trust and believe.
So
Right.
now let me play devil's
But
advocate. Let me
hold
play
on.
devil's
All right,
advocate.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Before you take off, let me play devil's advocate because I need to speak my piece. I do got the money. I'm the one made the investment. Shouldn't I get the bigger return?
Yes,
That's what I'm getting at.
you should. If you
Back
it,
when, that's not what was happening, and that kind of set the tone for what continued to be. The fact that there was more money, big bank take small bank, because some of them had money. That's what I was saying. You most likely didn't have, but some folks did have money. So everybody trying to get a little bit more. They went into partnerships that some people were misled to feel like it was fair, like
right
with New Edition, even. That's of our generation. New Edition back in the 80s.
in
Them
sync.
folks were broke for a long time. TLC, the people,
Yep.
their handlers were getting money.
Tony
They weren't getting their
Braxton.
money. And in order for them to continue, well, she spent all hers on clothes, so I heard, but we ain't gonna
No, no,
talk about
no,
how we
no,
Nope,
spent.
no, no,
nope,
no, no.
That's
That's
just
no,
what
not
I
no,
heard. I
correct.
no.
said what I heard. What I heard.
Okay, because now my girl was paying her people. She was getting her money, but
Yeah.
she was paying everybody, and she was paying everybody top dollar, and
Yeah.
her fairness
Fantasia
broke
just
her.
came
But
out
yeah,
and spoke about how, yeah, me and Mara just had that conversation. Yeah. These people
That's
been
something I
getting
heard
gypped
about
out here.
MC Hammer too. Like they
Hmm.
were paying, they were trying to be fair in an unfair game because the
correct.
people on the other side who were holding all the distribution and all the stuff, like you were saying with the Master P. And that's why, really, if you ask me, they came at Luke, because a lot of that was underground.
Yes,
They couldn't get
ma'am.
their hands on all of that money. Otherwise, they could care less, because we see what has happened. And there was
Yeah.
filthy music out even before him. We can't even say that it started with him, because some of the stuff that my mama's generation, some of the what, like, wait, what?
And they was
But
packaging it
those
and selling
record
it.
yeah, they were packaging it and pushing it out. They were able to get paid. So it really wasn't about the um what he was pushing. It's the fact that they weren't able to manage it. They didn't have control over what that man and his group was doing, what South Florida
Mhm.
was doing. But
But
my biggest
sister,
issue is now, because they had talent. Now you get a lot of people, and this is my opinion, they don't have talent. They are just personalities. So the record folks are able to hire people, or they have music and stuff like that. They're pushing through people who really are able to just perform whatever this put in front of them. And then it looks like the public wants it, because they're pushing these numbers out. They're
That
keeping
is
it in
what
front of our faces. That's not necessarily what the public wants. It just
that is
looks
what they
like
call
that.
industry plants. Industry
That
plants is what they call those. And sadly, um, and I don't want to say she was an industry plant, but she is a prime definition or example of how an industry plant could be created. But Whitney Houston, she did not create her own music. She did not, and she talked about it. I don't know how to write that stuff. I just sing what they give me. But it just so happened that she had such a beautiful melodic voice that we did want her talent. But there's so many others out there that fall into that category, because in this industry, and it is a world known, it is widely known to those that operate within that industry, it's 10% talent, 90% business. So if you
Yeah.
got the business, you good, because the talent
You
don't necessarily matter. It's only 10%.
you just broke up, Auntie Marva. Can you
Huh?
say that again? You just broke up. Can you say that again?
It's 10%. Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So the industry is 90% business, 10% talent. So if you have the business down to a science, you're good. If you just so happen to be talented on top of that, you're gold, right? You gold. But if you don't have the talent, but you still got the business, you're gonna make buck and you're gonna eat very well. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to have that talent. So going back to what Auntie Janisha was saying, those individuals that had the money, that were capable of really creating some waves for certain individuals, like we said, Master P, Lil, Birdman, those individuals like that came like Outcast and Goody Mob, that paved ways and used their money to. Big Boy is known for, he doesn't talk about it a lot, but Big Boy introduced so many big artists, and we know these individuals, Janelle Monáe's and individuals like that, to where when they came into the scene, they didn't experience some of the things that the other earlier musicians and artists um dealt with when it came to the business, because they made sure that they were paid properly and they understood the business so that they wouldn't get bamboozled. They could stand on their own 2 V and be bamboozled by the machine, because the machine is exactly what it's designed, was doing what it was designed to do, and that's to eat. Eat. We ain't giving y'all nothing. Country boys get nothing. Y'all heard what Dollar Bill said.
Yeah.
But
So I
okay, go
want.
ahead.
I'm sorry. I just have a quick question for you. So do you, because you are in this industry and you deal with this on a daily basis, do you feel that it's the same, or do you feel that it has changed?
So two things have changed. Is it the same? It definitely is not. The internet opened up the door to education, to allow us to be, we're in the age of information, and so we can look at this stuff and see for ourselves how the business works. So now these contracts that we were signing, we're not so quickly signing these contracts anymore, because now we can either hire a lawyer to explain to us how this works, Or even just put it in Chat GPT and tell Chat GPT, tell me what this piece of paper say, and this piece of paper is gonna tell me, oh no, don't sign that. Walk away, run fast. One, and then number two, these platforms are designed to where everyone could distribute their own material, so you don't even need the machine. You could utilize your own social media site to market yourself, and go, in other words, go viral, and you can submit or send your music to your fan base to where you don't need the machine. Now, that has caused a rift in music. Why? Because the big machines is not eating, and so many people are making great livings off of this music without needing the machines. And the machines is trying to figure out ways to work around that.
Okay.
Um, and I've had the pleasure of working with several artists that are doing just that. But also what has the downside to that, the con to that is the market now is so overly saturated. It used to be to where an artist would drop and that artist would be good and they can do whatever they doing in the game for several years without no real competition, right?
Right.
Now company music is dropping, people are dropping. You would drop an album and that album would do you some good for a few years. Now albums are dropping every single day. Pretty
Okay.
much, people aren't even dropping albums per se anymore. They're dropping singles because it's a possibility that there's so much music out there. It's so overly saturated. I'm not even gonna listen to your whole album. I'm gonna listen to that one single, and then I'm gonna move on because I got so much at me. They're throwing so much music at me, and it's everybody. Why? Because we're all majority of us. I'm not gonna say we're all because we just determined everybody isn't musically inclined, but majority of us are because music was our first language.
Right.
Possibly, possibly,
So
hypothetically.
so those shows, um, like
American
oh
Idol,
yeah, and the other one,
X
when
Factor.
when those when the people on those shows um compete, do they get signed record deals at
They
the end or no?
they are signed record deals, and those record deals are called 360 deals. Now, everybody downs the 360 deal. Why? Because they feel like they could get more bang for their buck with a by owning all of their rights. However, it is also have been proven to again to know the by understanding and knowing the business, a 360 deal could actually work out in your favor. There's a couple of artists that are taking advantage of 360 deals, and all the 360 deal is saying that we're going to give you a lump sum of money. We're going to help you put out your first uh album. You're gonna owe us possibly 2 to 5 more albums behind that. You complete this and pay us our money back, and you can go on from there. So depending on what that 360 bill deal looks like, it could either keep you locked into them forever, or you will be successful and complete the contract. And
Okay.
those that understand money, respect the money, get the money, and do what they're supposed to do with the money, and that is not buy the big gold chain, not buy the house, big house, not buy the car, not buy all of this stuff, but use that money to do what you need to do to complete your contract. You can be successful. J. Cole, he's a rapper out of North Carolina. He is a huge example of that. He took
Okay.
his money and he did what he was supposed to do with the marketing, as well as Kendrick Lamar. He did what they were supposed to do with the money. So they marketed their projects properly, because marketing is the biggest thing that you're going to spend. If you can be
Okay.
a great artist, if don't nobody know who you are, you can be a great artist to your friends and your family in your hometown.
Okay.
Until you get to the masses, that determines, how big of an art, how how big of an art, how big you grow. So they took their money and they made sure they put it into the marketing to make sure that their music got heard. And so the money that was coming in, they continued to pay off their loan, because that contract is just a loan. They did what they needed to do to pay off their loan, and they cleared their contract. And so from that point, once they were done, they severed ties and went their separate ways. And now everything that they put out now, and they still have their fan base. But everything they put out now, they fully own.
Okay.
So it just
Well,
depends. It's all about knowing the business and then following through. Because a lot of people know the business, but they gonna get that money in their hand and their pockets get to burning. And I'm finna go get this chain. I'm finna get these VVs on this map. You know what
right.
I'm at?
Well, Auntie Marva, that was a great topic. I would love to explore it more, but we have to move on.
I had one more point, but it's okay. I'm just
Okay,
playing.
is it a quick point?
Well, it was kind of just highlighting an article that Auntie Janisha shared in the family group chat, where they're talking about, and it just goes back to the history of our of music and um just how the significance it plays in our lives, and it's about the country song that's being swept about across the nation, where them fans at and boots on the ground, um and her friend was speaking on it, and it was just talking about how um the fans played a huge significance in African culture and religious African culture, religious black culture. I'm gonna say it not African, but religious black culture, as well as the boots on the ground. And it was he was speaking specifically and directly on the plantations homes that were on set up as a museum were burned to the ground. They're burning to the ground, and there's no explanation as to why they're burning to the ground. And but it's being said that this new country music that they're saying, boots on the ground, and the fans, they were saying that the fans would help direct the energy of, say, the Holy Ghost, or our ancestors into um into and correct me if I'm saying this wrong, Auntie Janisha, drawing them in, calling them up, drawing them in, as well as fanning the negative energy and the evil energy out. Because we don't know
That's
that,
about
right?
right.
A lot of people don't know that, but they're just singing.
Conjuring.
Yes, but they're just singing a song and they're waving fans, but at the same time, these fans still represent a thing to our ancestors. So the
Yep.
ancestors are
Mhm.
attaching themselves to that energy, the waving of the fans, and it's waking them up and it's causing them to react because they are still angry about how they were treated for those 500 years, and they are still displeased and about all the things that were taken from us as a people. Um, but being that again, like and Auntie Janisha, you said this before everybody before the podcast start. We don't know that. These were things that we didn't know. They're just singing a song, and it's a popular song, and it's cool because we like to dance. And they got their boots on the ground, so they stomping on the ground with those boots, and they waving these fans, pop, 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 popping these fans, which is creating a popping sound. It's creating a reaction, which is also
Frequency.
a
That word
transference
again.
of energy. Correct, energy
Hmm.
and frequency. So it's saying that somebody was saying that in some way they believe that it was conjuring up the energy and pretty much tapping on our ancestors, and our ancestors like, hey, this is what we needed to get active, and they getting active by burning these plantations down because there's no explanation as to why these two big museums burned to the ground. They don't know why.
Hmm. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so we're moving on to our segment. So the first one,
I ain't
loving
know if y'all want to
connections,
whatever. Mm-hmm.
building better relationships, perform an act of kindness. What were you mumbling over there,
I
Auntie
ain't said nothing. I ain't said
Auntie
nothing.
Janisha?
I didn't say a word. You can see me on the screen.
Oh, all I heard was mumbling. That's all I
Yeah,
heard.
It was
but
me.
why
It
assume
was
it
me.
was
It was
you?
me. But I ain't say nothing.
Oh, okay.
See
So
now?
Auntie, okay, I'm sorry. I apologize, Auntie Janisha. I just I'm reading. I'm not looking at this at you guys. I'm looking my at my notes over here. All I heard was mumbling. So, Auntie Marva, we're gonna turn it over to you for career corner.
Ooh. Oh, my career things. I ain't
You
even got them.
forgot about
I
career
did.
corner, didn't you? Okay, we're gonna circle back to you. Auntie Janisha, what were they thinking?
What were they thinking? It's just a simple one. Um, what we were just talking about, even though there's so many things coming against uh people of that don't have the means that the rich folks have, or don't have the color, the complexion for protection, you know, things are being taken away and deleted and just all the stuff, but it's within us, right?
Right.
And I just have the question that has been asked already. What were they thinking voting this guy in the first place, him and his people? You
Mm,
already knew, but I still hear
right.
people, well, I didn't know he was gonna do that. I don't know why they won't just go and sit down, get busy, get to work, because it's here now. This is what you
But
want.
he told you what he was
He
going to do,
told you
and you
exactly.
still okay,
And
whatever.
we're now in going into month, it's month 6, and so I'm tired of them asking that, so I'll just ask that one more time, like, what did you think was gonna happen? you know
Right. Yeah.
why be
Oh,
shocked?
right. Exactly. Exactly. So, parents, grab your child, grab your calendar, and let's pick our 1 hour activity for I see you, I hear you. And back to Auntie Marva, did you get your career corner?
Yes, and I gotta talk fast because my phone is dying. But so we have a film music coordinator that is with Amazon MGM Studios in Culver City, California. It pays about it's a minimum of 51,000 to up to 100,000. So you do have to be, thank you. You do have to you do have to have some experience there. And I'm going with the music stuff just because we've been talking about music the whole time.
Right.
Then we have an A&R creative coordinator with Sony Music Entertainment. This is in Franklin, Tennessee, and that is on site as well. So you do need experience there. But this one is requires a less experience. This is a band director for the International Leadership of Texas. Auntie Janisha, there is your chance. You can be the band director because that's what you said you wanted to do.
That's what I
Right.
In Cleveland, Texas, and this is on site. And then for all of our gospel, our saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost fills, we have a worship pastor in Boca Raton Community Church of Boca Raton, Florida, and that again is on site. You can find these links in the description and go and get y'all music on, pop some fans, put your boots on, stuff on the ground, and have the Holy Ghost if you feel the need.
Okay. And get that job because you can't have hers.
And you sure can't have mine. Y'all cannot have mine.
Auntie Janisha, what you got for Auntie's bookshelf?
Okay, on Auntie's bookshelf, this one was called Black God: An Introduction to the World's Religions and Their Black Gods. Now, whether you accept it or not, you done heard that Jesus was a man of color, a black man. It gives a description in the book. I don't know why we still fighting about that one, or some people are pushing back still. I have no idea. Take them pictures down if you want to take anything down. That really just come on now. But this book, it talks about that. It talks about the Buddha, the Krishna, and if you've been any on the planet for any amount of time, again, you may not agree with it. You may not want to accept it or whatever, but you have heard that the shrine of the Black Madonna, they even call her that. Like many of these, because the original people were people of color, they were black, then yes, of course, then that's where all of these different deities, gods, or um beings that we hold in a certain esteem may not be a god to you, but you do know um we accept that they were not just human. We don't speak about them like your average human, right? They had color to them. They were of black origin. The book goes into the Cyclops, because we've heard of the all-seeing eye. Some we got all kind of people with the tattoos with that. That's likened to the Cyclops. Jack and the Beanstalk. There's so many, even mermaids. We got the Little Mermaid, and them folks went crazy over that cartoon. But in indigenous people's culture, which would be around many of the islands and fishing communities and such, warmer waters, not in Europe, but they were mostly in warmer water. Those are indigenous black and brown people. So that's where those stories came from. So, a lot of these fairy tales and stuff that we've gotten, they started somewhere. And it wasn't usually the story that we've gotten. So this book, again, it goes into a lot of that. And don't let it throw you off just because it's saying black gods. It takes you through a lot of the different um, things that we've heard. And again, it's called Black God: An Introduction to the World's Religions and Their Black Gods by Dr. Supreme Understanding, who's actually based. I don't know if he and his family are still in his he and his daughters are still in Atlanta, but he has a lot of books, and you can get these because he self publishes. The Science of Self.com. The
Okay.
Science of Self.com. So there you go. Good
Oh,
book.
okay. Okay, go ahead and send me the link.
Will do.
And it's been a long week for me. So I only have one um open topic, and actually you guys already know mine because I said it when we were talking, but it is, what is your theme song for the year if you have one? Auntie Janisha. Looks like we lost Auntie Marva. Auntie
Oh,
Janisha.
yeah, she said her phone was going. No particular one song this year. There's so much happening. And as I'm driving my big old truck, my whatever hits me in the moment that I want to hear or want to know more about, because some of the songs, I think this is the first time I'll find songs related to something that I have an interest in.
Hmm.
So I'll listen to the song more for learning rather than guiding how I'm feeling, because that's more your
Mm,
question, how you feel with what you're listening to, or how you want to feel with what you're listening to. Mine for this year, because of all the different things, has been more learning. So I'm listening to songs related to those topics.
gotcha. Gotcha. Auntie Michelle.
Huh?
What is your theme song for the year if you have one?
Oh, I don't have a theme song. Um, and yeah, the ones was keep playing out. They get on my nerves. But it's totally getting on my nerves. Um, just as Auntie Janisha, it depends on my mood. Cause yeah, I'm in all genres of music. I was just riding down the street to country, and tomorrow it might be jazz. It might be soul, like a soul instrumental music. Well, it depends on what's going on in life. How I feel after meditation. And that's where I be at.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's all I had for open topic. Do you guys have anything for open topic?
Yeah, I do. I don't know how y'all feel. So it's a trend going around right now. Ginger had ginger had I don't know how you pronounce it. I think they're called ginger people. Um
With red
the
hair.
white teeth with
Redheads?
red hair.
Yeah.
They are considered joining force with, well, not joining force, but they're considered black people now. A lot of the black people are saying they are the blacks of the white community, something like that. It was interesting.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
don't.
like, a lot of these gingers came up and had stories of how they, not to the depth of what the black community perhaps went through, but they are talking about how they have never been really accepted over there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You and I haven't discussed it, but I've seen that too, and it's pretty disturbing that we keep deciding that other people are us based on one thing. Um, because some of the folks don't even they're not gingers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mhm.
You want to be more specific and genuine, then you would actually call their culture out, right? Um,
Mhm.
and be specific, right? But at the same time, I don't think that it's appropriate on the individual level. But like for the whole, no, it's kind of weird because there's a lot of people that have gone through things, and are we just gonna pull everybody in? It'll get us back to where we've been already, and that's us not focusing on self. Focusing on self does not mean that we are disliking or turning our backs on other people. It just means that we are focusing on self. So all of this distraction with the, oh, they one of us. No, we ain't even get to the point where we're dealing with us yet. Let's just deal with us.
I
And yes,
totally
we can
agree with that.
still at the same time acknowledge that other folks have been through some things. Um,
Yeah.
to bring up the movie Sinners again, that's a lot of it's comes from there because Remick, the vampire that showed up on scene prior to others turning, so I would call him the main vampire, Remick. He was of Irish descent, and so there he would be a ginger, is what they're saying. And their people, and he says it in the thing, and it was historic, it was accurate, that his people were sold the same bag of goods that ours was.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us our gods, they took what was their culture and gave them the culture that they wanted to have, told them
Right.
the same lies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
were enslaved and they were treated badly. Nobody can compare their history to our those of us, because all of us didn't come over in that way,
Right.
but nobody
Mhm.
can compare their history lengthwise as far as years, nor the brutality that darker skinned people have suffered on this planet and continue to. And nobody is, like what you're saying is, we're deciding that, oh, there's some of us, but we only I've not heard them saying, "Ooh, we with them now." No, no, no. Ain't nobody still running over here like that. What they've been
Right.
asking is, "Ooh, why the black people not helping us? The immigrants that are being deported and rounded up now. We're hearing they're
Mhm.
calling for help, but they're still not saying they are part of us."
Mm.
So
Right.
for us to keep
Right. Right.
sending our spirit like that, deciding that other people are us, they just ain't. And it's disrespectful to the Most High God if you say you believe in one, because just like the different flowers, the different trees, I'm sorry to be long winded, but it's just real. If we're deciding that if we're all this and all that, no, there is no all nothing. We are
That's right.
individual groups of people, and if we were to use our culture and be free to do so, it could be a better planet because everybody has something to contribute.
That's
But
right.
deciding that everybody is one thing, that's disrespectful to the Most High, because that's not how we were created, all one thing. It is
Mm-hmm.
okay to be yourself and stop pulling everybody over to self, because everybody ain't us and we ain't them, and it is okay.
Yeah. I don't know enough. I don't have enough information to comment, so I'm just gonna leave it at that because I don't know anything about it. So, but anyway, ladies, it is that time again. Always so sad when we get to the end. But I want to thank everyone for joining in today. And I hope that you enjoyed the topic. And as usual, I hope you learned something and there was something that you could take away from the topic. And we will see you all next month. Stay safe, stay healthy. We love y'all. Peace out.
I want to encourage folks. Today is June 1st. the day of this recording, which is the first day of the hurricane season, and it's different around the world, but by and large, the Atlantic hurricane season starts today. It's not too late. Make sure you have your supplies. We don't know what's happening economically. So, for that reason, also, get your little supplies up, save back a little more, and do the things you're supposed to be doing. We can't party all the time, y'all. Come on. Love y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all.
Any parting words, Auntie Michelle?
Oh, I'm feeling turn up. Why you
Okay.
getting your supplies to keep that energy high? Listen to your music, push your vibration up. No matter what you're going through, we all going through something. Trying to find the positive out of it, and just keep your energy high and vibrant. Guarantee you're gonna get through it way easier than being distracted by it. Peace, I love, sending peace, love, and light. I'm out.
Until next month, love and life.